think that was an eye-opener and a mind-blowing school to go and visit, and I encourage everyone to do so. We'll just move on to the next panel. This is the panel on innovations and sustainability through partnership. I'd like to invite on stage Shri Prashant Mandke, CEO Sakhi Unique Rural Enterprise, Srimati Rukaiya Joshi, Advisor Mentor to CSR and NGOs Mumbai, Srimati Neha Kanabar, Founder UNIMO, Universe of Moms, Srimati Utkarsha Kavadi, Senior Executive AIILSG, Shri Dabrase, Director CSEDI LLP Navi Mumbai. Kindly come on stage, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Post-lunch session, I'm sure this will be a bit interesting and we'll try to do it a bit differently. My name is Pramod, as I've just introduced, and I'll be moderating this session and will try to ensure that we really are able to gain something out of it, so that it can be maybe framed into policies, strategies, and maybe next level action plans that we may work together. The topic itself looks so heavy: innovations, sustainability, and partnership. These three pillars, I would say, are an issue or areas in itself. Sustainability, we all know what it is. Innovations, we all know. Everyone is kind of trying to come out with something that really works, that is really useful, that can be scaled up and things like that. And lastly, partnership. You see, so many partners here. Without partnerships, I think working in today's world is practically impossible. Everywhere we see that we need collaboration, starting from government to SHGs to NGOs to UN to everyone. So without partnership, I think nothing is possible in today's world. So coming to the original discussion about how we as individuals, as organizations, as women-led entities can really make the difference, can share your experiences and see where it can be applied, where it can be taken up, where it can be scaled up, what challenges you have faced while working on these aspects of innovation, sustainability, and partnership. So my first question, we will try to break this into two kind of lots. First lot will be common. First set of questions will be common for all the panelists, and second may be specific to your areas of specialization. So I will start with the first question. That is, maybe we should not call it as a question. It is more like a sharing your experience, sharing your thoughts about what you have done so far. So how your work has contributed to sustainability, I would like to ask each one of you. How your work has contributed to sustainability through partnership. And while doing all this, what kind of innovative measures, innovations you came across, you were able to evolve, you were able to actually demonstrate. So I would like to start with Utkarsha.
Thank you. Thanks for giving this opportunity to come and speak here and share the stage with all eminent speakers. I work for an organization called All India Institute of Local Self-Government, and as the name suggests, we work for the local governments, or say government, for implementing various development programs. We work essentially in the development sector, but local governments are the focus with whom we work on various agendas. So not only local governments, but we work very closely with the central government, state government, and local government for implementing any ideas and programs in the field. My individual experience is in the area, the sector of water sanitation and waste management. We've been hearing what is the sector about since morning, and what are the opportunities. Coming very specifically to my experience or as organizational work, we certainly and absolutely this is one of the sectors where implementation cannot really we cannot really see any implementation efficiently done without any collaborations or partnerships. So I would like to rather put it as this is in this era where we all talk about missions, programs, and everything. I think funding is not really problem at times. There is a lot of funding under every program when it comes to service delivery in water sanitation and waste management sector. The problem remains when it comes to implementation and converting policies into implementation. And that is where I think we see a lot of potential for collaboration. So keeping this in mind, being an organization like AIILSG that works extensively in the area of policy planning, but not only on that front, but also to the level of community engagement. We've invested in creating a platform called Maharashtra Urban Wash Coalition. So I'm talking specifically about Maharashtra now since we are dealing with Maharashtra as area. So we have established Maharashtra Urban Wash Coalition, wherein the primary agenda is to facilitate partnerships, build capacities, and encourage innovations at the local level with engagement of local communities. So for example, I'll just quote one or two examples, and then maybe in round 2 I will talk more about it. But the whole idea is that strengthen local capacities or potential for innovations or implementing innovative ideas with involvement of local capacities and local partner organizations. So this platform is essential. There exist many coalitions, as everybody must be aware, at the national level. But the idea is that establishing such a platform wherein we encourage local engagement or NGOs that are working closely with the communities that probably are not represented at the national coalitions. So strengthening whole implementation through innovations is the objective. And I'll speak more when we come to the specific questions.
So thank you, Utkarsha. I would like to go to Mr. Prashant. Any questions you could able to bring up?
So thank you, Neha, for the invite and to share my thoughts here. I'll just give you 2 minutes on what I represent. I represent this organization. This was actually formed by an NGO called Swayam Shikshan Prayo. She started 32 years back. In 2009, this organization was founded. The reason was women empowerment. Very simple: farm, non-farm, skill building, everything. So I represent that. We work for rural women, training, capacity building, and providing the diversified income opportunity as an organization. At an individual level, I've been involved in the right from the incubation to acceleration stage. I've been on the mentor board of many of these accelerators, also connected with incubation centers. So from a sustainability point of view, I just want to quote one important aspect. Whether it is a program or an idea, beyond grants, how do you make this work continue? That is the biggest challenge, and I've been into the startup ecosystem. I've also been connected with many programs. So what happens next is the biggest question. So what the real life example where I'm currently associated and working as an individual as well as an organization is, there are a lot of startups which are, I would call it early stage, where they might have just started their different domains. So we are working with these startups as channel partners, because the biggest need for a startup is, one is market access, the second is funding, whether it can be first or second, whichever way. So we provide market access. Now this whole thing has been brought together by Wilgrow Innovation Foundation. There is a beautiful model where you get finance, you get mentoring. Mentoring is not the only thing, because I've seen many accelerators where I only mentor. What happens next, I don't know. But even the market access piece. Now, this is a beautiful model where the startups get both the fundings as well as the market access. And that is the only way I believe sustainability can be achieved. And how do you grow beyond a stage where your grants are utilized? What next? That's the biggest question. So sustainability is, in my opinion, how do you leave a footprint behind which continues? A little more, if you allow me 2 minutes. I've also worked in collaboration with many NGOs, international as well as Indian, where I've seen some of the top NGOs have a very clear policy that we will exit this particular community after 10 years or 15 years. So you have a target that I will enable them, and beyond that, we will exit. Now, enabling is a very critical part where enabling is not just getting funds. Enabling is your training, capacity building, even market access. You want, if those women have household businesses, how do you ensure that they are able to market their products and sustain beyond the grant stage, beyond the mentoring stage? So these are beautiful strategies which some of the NGOs have adopted. Not everywhere successful, but I think there's a greater degree of success when you clearly have a vision that let me exit after 10 years. Or let me exit after 15 years.
Mr. Prashant, what kind of enterprises you are talking about? Can you?
So enterprise from a startup point of view, I would call
what kind?
Yeah, I'll explain. So one is the agri-tech, where there are enterprises which are working around the entire cultivation cycle. Then there are post-harvest solutions, and there specifically the distributed renewable energy.
Okay.
Because that again has an impact on climate. So this is one set which I'm working. There are others, health as well as few other enterprises where we work around. But this is the core area where we focus.
And are you able to kind of document, scale up, and take these learnings to elsewhere? Have you tried this?
We have started couple of years back. We honestly didn't have this whole process in
so
place.
Maybe this is something that we as a group can copy. May I go to Srimati Neha?
First of all, thank you for your question, and I was quite awed with the 2 replies I had just heard, and I'll take the lead from there. First, let me just brief everybody about me. I am Neha, and I'm the founder of this community called UNIMO, Universal Moms. So whenever you hear this, you think of it as a community of mothers coming together. But trust me, it's a revolution, because mothers supporting mother, I think, is the strongest economy we know of. And I think when I read the title of today's panel, I think what better than Maha Collab to come in a community like UNIMO? Because mothers, I'll take a leaf from your answer. You talked about implementation, which is beautiful, and sir, you talked about the sustainability. I think I'll take a leaf back from implementation and sustainability to creating awareness first. Because see, I'm sitting with 6.5 lakh mothers constantly chattering on Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, but they're not even aware of policies, what you guys are running around. We are partnering with NGOs, very renowned NGOs like you all. However, I feel, so as you rightly pointed, that enabling them is not just giving them funding, but what is the process of hand-holding them. So we have launched 2 very important verticals in the community where I think impact has been created. One is called Rutu. Rutu is rural to urban. When we were expanding our network to 16 cities worldwide, we saw there are mothers who do not have a Facebook or Instagram profile, but they're looking out for a go-to-market strategy. Now, how do we really handle them? So then we identified that WhatsApp is something which everybody has. Like my mother to my granny, everybody knows how to access WhatsApp. We created a channel called Rutu, which is rural to urban, where mothers on this WhatsApp can understand, what can we do within each other and how can we position our go-to-market strategy using a platform like UNIMO, which is dominantly very strong on social. So we are funded by Meta, and when Meta came to us, we took them to villages to design the GTM with them. So I think we can be very big enablers with people like you all who are contributing and creating so much impact to help you reach out to these communities, because we are the community. So I think that's where our contribution is. The second sustainable initiative, which I think Pramodji, you said very well, that today is the day we should start with. We are coming up with the incubator model, which is Mom Incubator. So wherein can we handhold them for 8 months without charging them anything, like when you were talking about Chanakya. I feel it's time we collaborate with institutes like Chanakya and have these mothers, become financially independent. And that would happen only when we are training them right. So incubation in a free space, and later we go to people like you to help them identify the product challenges and take them to the next level. So that's where the impact has been.
Can you tell the audience what actually you do?
Okay.
When you say you work with moms and all that,
Perfect.
What is the product? What is the service?
I think, Pramodji, this question I've got from India to Germany everywhere. So Meta, when they flew me down to Germany, Germany, Mark Zuckerberg and Sheryl Sandberg asked the same. So what we do is, I personally believe that 10 years back when the communities were just a new word, a new buzzword, we created a platform for mothers to come together and have a shared economy. Shared economy on the area of sustainability, where mother like me, if my kids have outgrown say certain toys, certain books, can I pass it on to a fellow mother who might be of the same level as me, but it will help the circular economy. So it was more like connecting with each other, supporting each other and doing businesses with each other. However, it became a revolution today.
Actually, I mean, this is what we are looking for when we are sitting in the dais, in the platform like this, when we have a gathering like this. We had started something called as books bag, shoes bag, this bag, that bag. I think something similar you are talking about. But Meta is helping you to kind of scale it up or partner with...
Definitely. See, other than Meta, like with World Trade Center, we have been working very closely. Anybody who's trying to create an impact, it's an absolutely free community for mothers to come together. We don't charge them even a single rupee. So here, 6.5 lakh mothers are sitting area-wise, village-wise. Like you go to Sakhi and ask me, Neha, can we do something here? We can create a very hyper-local impact. It can be very diverse interest. A mother wants to just explore a startup idea to a mother who's wanting to just get back to work after a surrogate. So it can be, anything. So anything and everything, mother is the world. So I cannot really put all that in the world, but I can just say one thing, that if we need true innovation, it has to be through true collaboration. And we drive that. In the mom influencer space, today social media is the voice, we drive that voice. So we will be instrumental in anybody and everybody collaborating with us. It's an absolutely free platform to come.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
May I request Rukaiya ji to please throw some light on about your experience?
Hello. Very good afternoon, and I'm really happy to be here. I come from academia and working with the social sector, sustainability becomes part of it. A lot of areas on which we worked. In fact, I come from an MBA college, and we were the first one to bring in sustainable development goals as a part of the curriculum, which was not there, and the United Nations acknowledged that in India, this was the first one. Where does it start? I want to share with all of us here that sustainability is everybody's business. All of us sitting in this room, outside room, all the people, government, NGO, corporates, individuals, children. We've taken up this with schools, where in many schools in Delhi, we are inculcating sustainability at a very early stage, at the school level. So sustainability is everybody, that it is to align with the sustainable development goals. And the topic is so very apt. Today, so when sustainable development goals we are talking about, 2030 is not far away. The 17th goal only talks about collaboration. It has all the targets that countries have to achieve, which have to do with collaboration. Where will you get the finance from? Where would be the technology? And then you have differences in different countries. Some countries have higher technology. So in 2017, there was a target set up that those countries which have surplus and they are ahead in technology will create a technology bank. And they did. And it has happened. Now when you create a technology bank, it just does not work like that. So you need to do capacity building that you're talking about. So you have to really see whether that capacity is built.
What do you mean by technology bank? Can you elaborate a bit on
So say for example, just to say that water management, right? So you would have systems and processes which you pertain to environment, let's say. Assessment, finding the possible threats, and then you want to create some kind of measurement. So you create a technology which will do all. Today it has all gone to the farmers. You know, you have Kerala fellows or you go anywhere, they all use technology. बारिश आएगी कि नहीं और आएगी तो कब आएगी, and you know, they are all working on technology. So where does it come? Now some countries can't do it. So the countries which have or where they don't, they will go out and create it and give it free to the rest of the country.
Can you quote some example where it has really helped some technology somewhere to achieve sustainability, to achieve innovations?
Absolutely. I made the presentation of this case study, and that is not far away. It is right there in our country, and the name of the company is ACC Cement Limited. They did, and they are known world over about this, where they went collaboration, technology, and sustainability. So where government came in, ACC Cement as a corporate came in, and you have NGOs coming in, and you have the local community. All of them coming together for, we were talking about in the previous, the panel, we were talking about recycling the waste, which is one of the major issues which we are talking about in today's panel. So they went out, it's a model and it is available, you can even Google search it, but for the benefit of people, I am saying that they created Sakhis who would collect the different kinds of waste, and ACCC Limited made sure that it is properly recycled, reuse, recycle, and create the bio waste and all that, and whatever was not degradable, they used it for ACC plant as a fuel, and that is why they went out to make it as a...
Okay, that's great, that's great. Thank you, I think it was very informative, thought-provoking ideas of your people. Now we can maybe next organizations, entities and all that. Mr. Prashant, working with a woman-led enterprise, right? It will be an understatement if I say that woman-led enterprises are kind of reshaping the sustainability game across the country. I work myself in environment-related sector, waste management, wash and all that. So now everyone across the country is talking about how can women be the center of all this, be it operation and maintenance of a facility we create, maybe water supply scheme or composting plant or soakage pit or whatever. So in your experience, how do you think elements such as circularity, maybe leading to sustainability, partnering with whatever stakeholders we talk about, or funding issue you already said, funding as well as marketing you said, right? So all this bringing together, how can we really shape this and make the model wherein woman-led models can be a kind of ray of hope to achieve all this, especially in the context.
I'll tell you what we're doing in our own modest way, real life examples and what work is happening day by day to day. So we work with women, we call them Sakhi. I mean, these women are influencers, they are good in communication, they are good in mobilization. Community trusts that we will stay within the same village. So what we do is deliver everything through these women, product services. So two areas we work. One is climate resilient farming, which we promote in a big way. And there is a model which is led by the NGO, mother NGO who supports us, called 1 acre model. It is called 1 acre model and it was awarded at COP27 as well. So the model is primarily food security and then empowering women. It ends with a piece of land. I mean, it starts with a piece of land. Let's say you have a couple of acres. She works as largely as a laborer. She is not a decision maker most of the time. So we want her to be a decision maker. Second thing is, we say, okay, let the family allow her to cultivate what she wants on that small piece. Out of 1 acre, 1/4 you take. Okay, starts with that. Convincing the family takes 6 months. And it ends with, if you know Sarpara, Zameen ka Dakhla, uske upar wo mahila ke naam se land honi hai. That is the end result. And in the bargain, Food security is like, Marathwada region, which is famous for a lot of farmer distress. We work largely in that area. So food security, because you need to eat something. If the crop fails, what happens? And the other part is, in this entire piece, we don't promote chemical fertilizers and pesticides. It's vermicompost. So you make a vermibed will produce vermicompost, and that itself is an allied business. So this whole range of practices, protocols, as well as products and services is promoted through these women, and they earn out of it. We train other NGOs and other cohorts. We also work with FPOs where we want to promote this. So that's one area where partnerships with product companies happens. We promote biogas. So we have a corporate which actually has got a carbon credit, and we have sold almost 6,000 to 7,000 biogas units only in last 2 years in 3 districts. So that is a huge impact on climate. So we have other side is the distributed renewable energy, which is applying to agricultural solutions. So we are working with enterprises which have that solution. Right? And then again, these Sakhis are able to generate demand, they are able to even make sale, and they are able to earn out of it. So we deal with these two verticals largely to ensure there is an impact. One is on income diversification of this region, the other is on climate and community. Right? So these are the few things which we do, where we partner with the enterprise stroke corporates. We partner even with the banks, because financing is a very, very critical aspect. Some of the national banks we have approached, we have representation, including the policy think tank members who are partnering with us. Like CEW is one of the lead who is working with us on these aspects. So enterprise, finance, the farmer, where the mobilization and finally technology adoption happens with this farmer, is what we work around, and we are always open for anything new which aligns with our ethical portfolio. Anything which is new for them.
Just one small connected or related question. Wonderful, whatever you said. There are so many elements, I would say, which adds up to the circularity given. So, question is, have you kind of tried to do some kind of end-to-end modeling, auditing of all aspects of a particular entity, be it cropping, or you said you are doing vermicomposting and things like that. So when you talk of vermicomposting, it comes from somewhere, right? It goes somewhere. There are forward and backward linkages. So question is, have you tried to kind of audit so that, because circularity, when we talk about circularity, it is like a life cycle analysis of a particular product, right? So in that context, have you tried to understand it or put it on paper or document it?
Honestly, we haven't really done much. Number one, if it is a grant, then you need to obviously do impact assessment. But we don't work on many grants, we work on other funds. There are few grant programs which we do, so we have not done that. The way we see it is, let's say if vermicompost business, let's say vermibed and then have vermicompost, how many women are able to, how we are able to increase their income through business, number one. Number two, how many farmers are using it and what is the number of acreage which we are able to impact. But we don't have audited results. Second, I will tell you, biogas is not just gas. It also produces slurry which is used as organic manure. And it's a fantastic solution. You don't pay for gas. Okay, within 12 or 13 months there is, ROI. You pay 13,500 at present. The cost of this biogas unit is 42.5. Carbon credits bring it down to 13.5. Within 1 year or 13 months, you recover the cost. Then lifelong it is free. But cowshed and kitchen has to be nearby, and the manure is used for your kit. So these are the we only see number one impact on income, number one through impact through the farm, how much of acreage is being impacted. But we don't have audited stuff. Only
great. I think that is a great learning for all of us, and we will have to definitely do something. Now you said that you already earned some carbon credits.
We haven't earned. The company or enterprise with whom we partner, they get it from the international market. We only give that benefit.
So now when you do carbon crediting and all that, I am sure there must be a process process to document all
Yes,
those things.
that documentation.
That was the reason I asked
We
you.
do that because finally in 10 years is was the warranty of that biogas plant, and they have to report what is the impact, is there a usage or no usage. Otherwise they won't get the credit. So we do that process for the biogas piece, but otherwise we haven't done much of audit. Methodical, we are open if there is some kind of audit which can help us to, prove a point. I mean, today I don't have that,
No, that's perfectly fine. Perfect.
That's one more point. Is we also work on grant programs. We work with foundations. We have been working on USAID. Unfortunately, it's all stopped. The program shut. We got the final termination also because nothing is moving forward. So we were working on another NGO in Tamil Nadu, build their capacity, a woman company for compost. So we were building and trainers were our own women who have successfully delivered and done this. So it's not that I go and train. These are the grassroots women who get exposure, and I represent them today. But ideally, I would have loved to send someone who can, actually talk about it. Megaji, maybe sometimes given opportunity, I'd love to send some of these women leaders who can really inspire people. Yeah?
No, you are also able to inspire us. We will definitely take a lot of lessons from you. You are talking of finances, funds, and all that. So I would like to come to you. You also work with NGOs, CSRs, right? So the question is, there is so much happening in India, especially in CSR space. Now, one reliable source of finance, you can say, that is CSR. Another reliable institution that is actually helping us do a lot of things at field level is NGO. So how do you bring about matchmaking, identifying or understanding their needs, then providing them with required, it may be financial support, it may be technical support, it may be capacity support, or whatever. So do you have some thoughts about how we can strengthen all these to ensure that one, partnership we have been talking about, partnerships are strengthened, they are long lasting. As you said, there is something, at some stage you have to phase out of the partnership. So how can we make this partnership itself as a sustainable business? So can you please...
We need to see that we work in an ecosystem where these partnerships are not built by any third party. Generally, the CSR is done by a company where their plants are, and they want to try and do good in their local. But what has happened, the compliance and the government has got out to put a lot of requirements, and there has been a move where each CSR will work for sustainable development goals. So they have to align as to what are they doing. If in health, which particular goal, the target are they putting? And they have to decide in that local area. So, and then they go out and do it where they give funding to the NGOs. When, as far as we are concerned, as Management Institute, we would find that our students of CSR and students of NGOs sit in the same class. And this is where the collaboration begins. And that continues to be there for decades together. And we also train them. For example, the entire batch of regular MBA students, they are learning now SDG and ESG, environment, sustainability and governance. Now that has become part of the curriculum, where they actually do. They are given target to reducing the power bill of the institute by 20%. They will have to do the recycling of the waste and try and see the plastic consumption actually reduces. Not only recycling, but the consumption reduces. We've been doing a lot of training to not-for-profit. Now, when we say an NGO, we know what NGOs are. But we have in our society a lot of clubs, Rotaries and Lions and Leos and so many other clubs. So we've been doing training for them. And that training is like not do just the ribbon cutting, just not do donation and just ribbon cutting, we connect them to sustainable development goals. And we ask them to align what their individual club, and these are many clubs put together, individual club is doing for which goal and which target and how they are doing. So that I want to share this with you, I'm very happy to share that with you, that some of them have started going to interior of the Maharashtra and have started working for check dams and water conservation and water usage and doing fantastic long-term projects. From Mumbai, they have got it.
Great, thank you.
I
Thank
just
you.
want to give you one
Yeah,
more
yeah.
example, if you allow me. We are, the United Nations has an alignment to smart cities that you were talking about. So I've consulted with Thane Smart City, where whatever Thane Smart City's agenda, whatever the government funding and agenda comes, we sat down and align it to each of the targets and see whether we try and make an effort to try and improve upon it. So this becomes like influencing the practice.
Great, thank you very much. Utkarsha, I heard you saying that you work with, you have some forum at state level, you work with state government, and there is UNICEF, there are civil society, there are communities. Interesting combination. Question is how can we make this partnership really long lasting? How can we document those practices which can be categorized as sustainable practices? We would like to hear from you. Maybe you can quote few examples.
Sure. So, again, I would rather say that this is an interesting combination. We all come from very different backgrounds and ecosystems, I guess. So, working very closely with the government, and yes, I will definitely address this question. But even before that, firstly, as you rightly said, the whole coalition is supported by UNICEF. Yusuf is also here. And it was established with an agenda or with an objective of how we can sustain these partnerships or whatever this coalition-like model that we are forming, how we can probably later even make it part of like mainstream this or institutionalize this whole approach within the government, working very closely with the government. So I will rather put it in say 2-3 parts. First, what we've learned is we work both at policy as well as implementation or with the communities to make things happen. So when we work at policy level, we realize that this needs to be strengthened with evidence building, and when we work with the communities or at the local level, we understand there is a need for whole policy intervention, and so we are trying to close this loop and work at the end. But whenever we are working with the communities, so the first part, what I would like to highlight here is need is for localizing. One size cannot fit all, as we say. So need is for localizing the whole approach or whatever the policies say. And what localizing essentially means here, so we work extensively in plastic waste management, sanitation or fecal sludge management. In our project cities where we are working on plastic waste management, and everyone here sitting here I think understands the potential of circularity when we are dealing with plastic waste. So rather than the linear economy, I think we need to focus on circular economy and how we engage communities in doing this. So it is easy to probably segregate plastic from a central level and put it or send it to someone for incineration. But important is how we can engage communities for segregation at the level of the source segregation, how the purest form of plastic can be segregated. Then we are also working very closely with schools and colleges, how they can play a role. So looking at communities as agents of change in doing all this, how we can engage everyone in across the value chain of this sanitation, may it be sanitation or waste management, but focusing on segregation of waste, focusing on how can that be transported in the purest form, whether it should be sent for incineration or the local communities should use plastic with some and create it into wealth, so putting it into circular economy. So providing skilling and training to the self-help groups, how they can convert the plastic into. So recently we conducted, say something like city visioning workshop for cities like PCMC and Pimpri-Chinchwad and Satara, where we tried to bring together more than 80 stakeholders that are working with the city on the agenda of waste management. but they never met each other earlier. So that is where we are trying to play our role, that how we can bring together all these partners who are working with a common agenda for a city like PCMC. For us, corporation is at the center, and they are not aware that so many stakeholders and assets exist for them to really build their waste management approaches on. The second part I would say here is that, and with this I come to institutionalization. So we hear a lot of pilots, someone somewhere is implementing something, but it is in the sense of, say, community of, say, 200 or even 2 lakh. But when I talk about Mumbai or Pimpri-Chinchwad or Navi Mumbai like cities, if the whole effort is institutionalized, I think the potential for sustainability is highest, scale-up is highest. So as AIILSG, we work closely with government or to institutionalize these pilots and approaches so that there is highest potential of sustainability for any such interventions. And so mobilizing CSR also earlier, I think we thought is essentially for some kind of capital investments, but we are using CSR for institutionalization or establishing models for circularity with engagement of communities. So those kind of collaborations are also very important. Third, I would like to mention here is convergence. There is immense potential of convergence. Since morning, I think we are talking about skilling and different departments we name, convergence at every level. We work with local governments and we are working on the concept of urban and rural convergence in service delivery. Sustainable, and this is essentially from the point of view of making service delivery sustainable. Urban that has infrastructure in place but does not have enough of vehicle waste to make that system functional, and rural had the need of creating new infrastructure. We worked on a model how urban infrastructure can be shared with rural to make the entire system sustainable for minimizing any need or optimizing existing resources. So we are creating such evidence, coming back to the state, converting it into policy, also linked with MOA for goal strengthening the SBM 2.0 now. But I would suggest, this convergence, localization, institutionalization remain keywords for us. And the last I would like to say is that, so when we say innovation or partnership or innovations essentially, do not really mean only technology-oriented big size like innovation or something like a miraculous thing. It is a simple approach that works. So whatever works, whatever is different, which was probably never tried but has worked well, it can be innovation and it can happen at any scale and any level. So we are focusing essentially on that.
Very right. Just a small query. How many people understand circularity? Circular economy?
Thank you for asking that question, rather. So I think I forgot to mention that simplifying all this for communities is essential, and that is also one of our focus areas, that whether we need to put something in terms of circularity and sustainability and SDG kind of terminologies, they of course don't understand what sustainable development goals. Though as our project parameter and target we have SDG achievement, but we have to of course simplify, localize all these terms, and for them it's a different approach, though we call it as circularity.
Great. It is easy. I think some of us have made it a bit complicated. So I would also take a bit of blame to make it complicated, because as a trainer we sometimes try to explain or explain, but the answer to many of the queries and questions like in the most basic things. We talk about what is called as back to basics approach to solid waste management, for example, where we talk of doing things which we have been doing traditionally since ages. We don't have to do any, especially in rural context if we talk about. I'll come to you, madam. You work with women. You have 6.5 lakhs, you said? How do you think this network of women can be used to empower or build capacities, mobilize, sensitize, build awareness around whatever we are talking about? How do you think it can be, all these elements, sustainability, particularly sustainability and circular economy? How do you think your approach or your people, your community or women can take this down to the household? or community level?
Yeah, so Prabhuji, basically, as we all know, that mothers play a very pivotal role in creating sustainability communities, creating sustainable businesses. Like I'll start with something very basic, like teaching our mothers how to segregate waste, to adapting to a cloth bag when they go shopping, to even coming and adapting eco-conscious brands and buying only from them is something what we have driven in our community very deeply. And I think, as you rightly said, that everything is back to basics, and sometimes we forget that. Like a lot of our mothers are conscious that they have to do waste segregation, but at times, if the building compliance is not asking them to do so, they tend to forget on it. So what as a community we do, we drive these messages, hammer them time and again through various NGOs, various policy builders and various brands who are setting through them. Of course, we all celebrate certain days which are dedicated to certain things, such that these themes can be integrated more. However, when I was talking to you all and I was taking my notes, I think there are three ways our community has been driving sustainability. First is, I think, creating a local and digital communities. Like I really like what you said, and I read from there. Adapting to eco-friendly parenting also, because we as a mothers are the one who will, really impact our next generation. What are we teaching them? Today, in an era where electronics, plastic usage is getting only bigger and bigger, how can as a mother we make our kids more conscious about the other environmental practices? As a school, you are doing some wonderful job. Like I'm a vice president with the Early Childhood Association, and I do schools doing some meaningful work. But what are we doing at the household level is a responsibility which is staying with the parents. We help them apprise of this thing. Second, I think is a very...
How do you do this? How do you do this? Can you...
So first thing, let me just come on a very, very basic thing. Like tomorrow we have an event, and since 10 years when we have been running communities, in our communities we don't give flower bouquets but plants. We don't give bags which can't be recycled. So we have taken very minute, tiny steps with mothers which has made a long-term impact. Also things like segregate waste and all. Whenever that happens in the community thread, we celebrate that women by making a creative for her, talking about her on a social level, saying that she's a eco-champion. So we create a lot of contests which makes them feel very happy that they've created that impact within their premise. I think it's time that we start with very basic hand-holding of these initiatives and creating more awareness of it, such that the mother at the pivotal level creates a difference, because mothers can create a difference in the entire world. If it starts from the family, it can be very well talked about and made viral.
Thank you very much. I think we are out of time already, so I will not go further. Just to conclude, so many things. There is so much of work already done. There is so much knowledge already available. I would like to request people like maybe Yusuf. Can we help them document and come out with something, a kind of SOP wherein we can, where if he talks about carbon credits, how a biogas plant or how a composting unit or how maybe AI-based or digital model can help us achieve those goals, sustainability and all that. So that I think we should be able to...
I think I should start by commenting the first thing that all the three panelists I have here, in fact Prabhuji and of course Neha ma'am, we are a very dominant social voice. I want to invite all of you on different individual Facebook lives to come and talk about your initiative. That itself will create a lot of impact. First thing is building conversations around it.
Yes.
And I think Neha ma'am has done this through this panel.
Yeah, I'm so happy that the last voice was yours, because moms know the best.
Actually, I had a lot to say, but I will not say that. Maybe I will some other platform.
So it would be nice if Sakhis and moms can come together and we can collaborate and do something very good. So while we have talked our walk, last 2 days we have talked our walk, there is a very inspiring journey ahead, and that's why there are 3 things we are going to do ahead next 1 hour, 1.5 hours. So while we have talked the walk, there are differently abled young men and women and children who are going to walk the talk now. They are going to showcase the weaved fabric which they have made, and Tisser has converted that into garments, and we don't want any showstoppers out here. All the differently abled would be walking, and their parents would be here to cheer them and see them for the first time walking a fashion show. So there is one that is there. Second, I would request esteemed guests to help us out, inaugurate shop, emporium here. So there is this Rukaiya emporium just 100 meters down. It was not in a very good shape. I would say it was in a very bad shape rather, to be more right. So we have revamped it. Rukaiya is a Madhya Pradesh brand. They have 200 emporiums across the country. However, being led on or handled by the government, the emporium was not how it should look. So last 10 days we have revamped it. We were expecting the Minister of Handicraft to come and open it, but due to Vidhan Sabha he couldn't come. So it now remains on all of us to go and inaugurate that emporium. So while the logistic teams put the ramp here, we would request the guests to walk with us 100 meters, open the emporium and come back here at least to see the young girls and boys differently abled to walk there with a bright spite in your spark in their eyes for the first time on a ramp. So anybody would like to come with us at the Rukaiya, most welcome. Until then you can have your tea and coffee here and while they set up the ramp. And there is one more skit that's going to happen just 15 minutes. It's an organization called MAVA, Men Against Violence and Abuse. So they are going to play a skit here at 4:30 and it's just a 15 or 20 minutes thing. And there is also three, I would not say blind, but virtually impaired adults, and they'll be playing live Basuri music. So evening is young and we will just go and inaugurate the Rukaiya because I have such an esteemed panel here and I would not lose this opportunity. Thank you for being a good audience. Be around until they put the ramp. You can walk us to the Rukaiya because end of the day you have to go and shop there, not today but eventually. And by the time our team sets the ramp walk. Thank you.